For 4 years, search teams swept over 120,000 square kilometers of the Indian Ocean, an unprecedented operation that ended in failure and left only scattered debris. Now, with the most precise data and advanced technology yet, a new mission is targeting a zone of 15,000 square kilometers. This could be the world's last real chance to solve aviation's darkest mystery. But what clues helped experts finally redraw the map, and could they be enough? The search for MH370 began with a scale and intensity rarely seen in aviation history. Within weeks of the aircraft's disappearance in March 2014, Australia, Malaysia, and China launched a joint underwater operation in the southern Indian Ocean. The first step was mapping the seafloor itself, a region so remote and poorly charted that even its basic contours were unknown. Survey vessels worked around the clock, using multi-beam echo sounders to reveal a landscape of deep trenches, steep ridges, and vast abyssal plains. Once the mapping was complete, the main search began in earnest. A fleet of ships and underwater vehicles swept a primary search zone stretching over 120,000 square kilometers, an area nearly the size of England. Towed side-scan sonar systems traced long parallel lines across the seabed searching for any sign of wreckage. Autonomous underwater vehicles followed pre-programmed paths, diving to depths of 4,000 meters and beyond. Each pass generated terabytes of sonar imagery, which teams of analysts scrutinized for patterns that might reveal a debris field or the outline of a lost jet. The operation tested the limits of technology and endurance. Crews faced months at sea, battling harsh weather and the logistical challenges of working in one of the world's most isolated stretches of ocean. Equipment failures, rough swells, and the sheer remoteness of the search area slowed progress at every turn. Yet the effort pressed on, driven by a sense of responsibility to the 239 people aboard MH370 and their families waiting for answers. Despite the unprecedented scope, the main underwater search zone yielded nothing. Acoustic signals once thought to be black box pings turned out to be false leads. By January 2017, after more than 2 years and hundreds of millions of dollars spent, the official search was suspended. The seabed had been mapped and scanned in detail, but the aircraft itself remained hidden. The failure of the 120,000 square kilometer sweep forced investigators to rethink every assumption. If the plane was not where all available evidence had pointed, then either the data was incomplete or the search area had been defined too narrowly. The suspension left an open wound: no wreckage, no flight recorders, and no closure for families. Yet, in the years that followed, new clues would surface far from the search ships, offering a chance to refine the hunt and challenge the boundaries of what was known. Waves washed onto the rocky shore of Reunion Island in July 2015, carrying with them a battered piece of a Boeing 777 wing. The flaperon, encrusted with barnacles and weathered by months at sea, was soon confirmed to belong to MH370. Its arrival broke a year-long silence and offered the first tangible proof that the aircraft had ended its flight in the southern Indian Ocean. For investigators, This single fragment was more than a symbol. It was a physical clue that could be measured, tested, and traced. In the months that followed, debris continued to appear. Pieces of interior panels, engine cowling, and wing fragments washed ashore on beaches from Mozambique and Madagascar to South Africa and Mauritius. Each item underwent forensic analysis, with serial numbers and manufacturing marks compared against Malaysia Airlines records. By 2024, at least 33 debris fragments had been either confirmed or deemed highly likely to have come from MH370. Some were unmistakable: a section of the right outboard flap, a cabin divider, a piece of floor paneling. Others were more ambiguous, but bore the telltale honeycomb structure and paint layers unique to the 777. The distribution of these finds told its own story. No large debris field was ever sighted from the air or sea, suggesting the wreckage lay far from land, deep beneath the surface. The Flaperon's journey in particular became a case study for oceanographers. Using ocean current data, wind records, and the timing of each discovery, scientists ran computer models to simulate how floating debris might have drifted across the Indian Ocean. The patterns pointed back to a stretch of water southwest of Western Australia, overlapping with the known seventh arc, an invisible line defined by satellite data and believed to trace the final path of MH370. Each new fragment added weight to the theory that the aircraft had indeed crashed in the remote Southern Ocean, but the precise site remained elusive. Debris drift modeling became a key investigative tool, allowing experts to estimate not only where the plane might have entered the water, but also how the vastness of the ocean and the chaos of its currents could scatter evidence over thousands of kilometers. These studies helped refine search priorities, suggesting that the main wreckage likely rested within a narrower corridor than previously thought. Physical evidence from the debris did more than confirm a crash. It provided a rare anchor in a case otherwise defined by uncertainty. The Flaperon and its companions became data points in a complex puzzle, guiding the next wave of analysis. They offered a bridge between the failure of the initial search and the promise of new techniques that could finally reveal the ocean's secrets. As investigators turned to satellite records and ever more sophisticated drift models, the debris remained a reminder that somewhere on the seafloor, the answers still wait. Analysts faced a daunting task, turning scattered fragments of evidence into a precise search zone in a vast and turbulent ocean. The initial sweep had covered 120,000 square kilometers, but the aircraft remained hidden. Over the years, the approach shifted from broad speculation to meticulous data synthesis, drawing on every available clue. The breakthrough came by layering 3 independent lines of evidence: satellite communications, debris drift modeling, and detailed fuel trajectory analysis. The satellite data, known as Inmarsat handshakes, provided a series of arcs marking possible locations of MH370 as it communicated automatically with a satellite high above the Indian Ocean. The final handshake, known as the seventh arc, traced a curved line from roughly 10 degrees south to 40 degrees south latitude, but that arc alone spanned thousands of kilometers. Analysts needed to narrow it further. Debris findings along the shores of Reunion, Mozambique, Madagascar, and South Africa became critical. Oceanographers ran simulations using wind and current records, tracking how pieces like the flaperon could have drifted from various points along the seventh arc. These drift models consistently pointed to a segment southwest of Western Australia, where the timing and location of debris arrivals best matched a source between 33 degrees south and 36 degrees south. Drift patterns were decisive. Fuel and flight modeling added another layer. By reconstructing the aircraft's likely path and its fuel exhaustion point, technical teams constrained not just where MH370 crossed the seventh arc, but how far it could have glided or descended after losing power. Sophisticated reconstructions, drawing on autopilot scenarios and fuel consumption rates, consistently place the highest probability of impact within that same latitude band. Fuel analysis tightened the search. Independent reviews and peer-reviewed studies, including work by Victor Ianello, Bobby Ulich, and teams at the Australian Transport Safety Bureau and CSIRO, all converged on this zone. Their models, built on years of incremental improvements and new data, identified a patch of roughly 15,000 square kilometers, centered near 34 degrees to 35 degrees south latitude, just west of the seventh arc, as the most promising target. This area includes coordinates such as 34.2 degrees south, 93.8 degrees east, and 35.7 degrees south, 93 degrees east, which have been repeatedly highlighted as needing renewed attention. These findings are independent and reinforcing. The narrowing of the search zone did not happen overnight. Each new fragment of debris, every refinement in current modeling, and each re-examination of satellite pings contributed to a growing consensus. The result is a search area that is not only smaller, but also far more defensible. An intersection of independent methods, each reinforcing the others. The 15,000 square kilometer patch is now seen as the highest probability zone, where the odds of finding the wreckage are at their peak. This analytical rigor sets the stage for the next phase, where upgraded technology will be put to the test in some of the world's most challenging waters. If the models and the machines align, this focused search could finally provide answers that families and investigators have waited for more than a decade. A fleet of autonomous underwater vehicles, known as AUVs, forms the backbone of the renewed search. Each AUV is engineered to spend days at a time in the deep, far beyond the reach of sunlight or GPS. They are programmed on deck, released into the ocean, and left to follow a precise grid, scanning the seafloor in overlapping strips. The mission is to cover every meter of the 15,000 square kilometers target area, leaving no possibility unchecked. These AUVs are built for endurance and accuracy. On board, they carry a suite of sensors, side-scan sonar, multi-beam echo sounders, and most importantly, synthetic aperture sonar, known as SAS. Traditional sonar, offers only rough outlines, but SAS stitches together thousands of acoustic images, producing scans sharp enough to reveal the curve of a wing or the scattered remains of a fuselage. This leap in resolution transforms the search from a hunt for vague shadows into a focused effort to identify specific shapes, making it possible to distinguish between a rock and a piece of aircraft. Navigation at these depths is a challenge. With GPS signals blocked by the ocean, the AUVs rely on inertial navigation systems that track every movement, and on Doppler velocity logs that measure speed over the seafloor. Occasionally, acoustic signals from the support vessel provide a position fix, anchoring the robot's maps to real-world coordinates. This layered approach ensures the AUVs follow their planned paths, with survey lines overlapping just enough to eliminate blind spots. The result is a complete, high-resolution map of the seabed, reducing the risk of missing crucial evidence. When the sonar picks up something unusual, the system's AI-driven algorithms flag patterns that match the expected size and shape of aircraft debris. Analysts on board and at remote centers are alerted almost immediately. If a target stands out, the AUVs are sent back for slower, closer passes, collecting even finer scans. Only when the evidence is convincing does the team deploy a remotely operated vehicle known as ROV, equipped with high-definition cameras and robotic arms, to confirm the find and recover key artifacts. Ocean Infinity's strategy relies on scale and speed. Multiple AUVs sweep the ocean floor in parallel, dramatically increasing the daily coverage rate. What once took months can now be accomplished in weeks. The engineering team draws on lessons from past missions, including the search for the Argentine submarine ARA San Juan, driving continuous upgrades in sonar, navigation, and automated analysis. Each advance makes the current fleet more capable than ever. The search zone may be small compared to the vastness of the ocean, but it is a rugged landscape of trenches and ridges. The AUVs are designed to adapt, flying close to the seabed, avoiding hazards, and maintaining steady altitude. For the families of MH370, these advances are more than technical. They are a renewed hope that answers may finally be within reach. Malaysia's Transport Ministry announced that the search for MH370 will resume on December 30th, 2025, nearly 11 years after the aircraft vanished. The government has contracted Ocean Infinity, a marine robotics company with previous experience in the 2018 search, to lead the renewed effort. The operation is planned to last a total of 55 days, but those days will be distributed in phases, carefully timed to match the calmer weather window of the Southern Hemisphere summer. Earlier in 2025, Ocean Infinity attempted to begin the mission, but persistent storms and heavy seas forced a halt in April. Officials said conditions were simply too dangerous and unworkable for deep-sea deployment, underscoring how much the success of this mission depends on the narrow band of favorable weather at year-end. The financial structure of the mission is as unusual as its technical ambition. Ocean Infinity will only be paid if it finds the wreckage. The contract, approved by Malaysia's cabinet in March 2025, is a strict no-find, no-fee arrangement, with a maximum payment of up to $70 million. If the aircraft remains undiscovered, the company receives nothing beyond basic support costs. This model is designed to minimize the financial risk to the Malaysian government while creating a powerful incentive for efficiency and thoroughness. Ocean Infinity's team must deliver conclusive evidence of the wreck's location to claim the reward. The search will target a 15,000 square kilometers area in the southern Indian Ocean, a fraction of the vast region combed in previous years. The ministry's official statement describes this as the highest probability zone where all available data converge. The countdown to December 30th now carries the weight of both scientific rigor and financial stakes. The world's attention turns once more to the Southern Ocean as the operation prepares to begin under terms that leave little room for error. For the families of those lost on MH370, each new search brings a wave of hope, shadowed by the weight of years without answers. Many have spent more than a decade pressing governments, holding vigils, and demanding that the search never be allowed to fade into memory. Their advocacy has shaped public pressure and kept the case alive long after official investigations stalled. Statements from family groups often return to the same plea: that the world owes the 239 people aboard more than silence, and that finding the wreckage is not only about closure, but about truth and accountability. A family representative, speaking ahead of the December 2025 mission, described this renewed search as the last real chance to finally bring loved ones home, or at least to the surface of history. For many, the absence of a grave or a definitive explanation has left them in a state of suspended grief, caught between hope and resignation. Some relatives have expressed cautious optimism, clinging to the promise of upgraded technology and a smaller, evidence-guided search zone. Others voice a quieter resolve, bracing for another cycle of waiting and uncertainty. Aviation experts add a note of realism. Even with all the advances in sonar and robotics, the Indian Ocean remains vast and unpredictable. The likelihood of success has never been higher, but there is no guarantee. As one search analyst put it, we are up against the limits of what is possible in deep ocean exploration. For families, the stakes are deeply personal. For the world, the outcome will determine not just the fate of a missing airliner, but whether the questions that have haunted so many for so long will finally be answered or left to drift unresolved. For the families of 239 missing, hope and uncertainty collide in the depths. As Ocean Infinity readies its most advanced search yet, the world watches, not just for answers, but for proof that disappearance does not guarantee oblivion. In the face of silence, the demand for truth grows louder. Some mysteries refuse to rest. Share your thoughts on this search below.